Hello, this is Cody. This is not a normal episode of the podcast. This is actually a rerun from our Patreon of our second season recap of Interview with the Vampire. We want the feeds to be active since we're having a little holiday kind of break, but also wanted to let you know that we are changing some stuff up with our Patreon, and we want your input and information. For folks who are patrons and also folks who are not patrons, we are asking what people want. That could be more bonus episodes, like the one you're going to see and listen to after this. Could be certain series that we cover specifically on the Patreon feed rather than the main feed. More things that are not as core to the show, like maybe the next season of You, or a different show altogether, or even back to books, a little book club, right? We want to know what you guys would want from Patreon subscription, and to help do that, we are offering a couple of free memberships to people who send us 5-star reviews on your preferred podcast app of choice. So if you email us at intothetwilightshow@gmail.com a 5-star review of the podcast if you enjoy the show, we will set you up with a free month of our tier that is this tier, the $7 tier, in which you get monthly bonus episodes. And there's also a huge backlog, so if you have been meaning to try it but have not, had the time or the funds to do so, take advantage of this, and you can kind of see what everything's all about. And of course, let us know what things you would like in the future so we can kind of shape it better to what you guys want. So we can make this all better and a fun little experience for everyone. So with that, happy holidays. We'll see you in the new year, and enjoy this recap of Season 2 of Interview with the Vampire.
Now tuning in to Earbud Media. Audio for everyone.
If I just scream for the next 30 minutes, can that just be my synopsis?
I think that's appropriate because the words in my brain and my heart can't translate.
They're not enough.
The feeling. They're not enough,
They're not.
Fuck. It's fucked up.
I know that when we talked about this last time, it was like, I don't want to wait. I can't. I'm so excited.
Mm-hmm.
And I was, and that's all still true. But also, I'm in so much pain now.
Everyone's right about this Interview with the Vampire. It's great. We know this. We've been knowing this.
However, I didn't doubt any of you.
Right, but what the fuck? Ow, ow. The amount of, I've never had more sob emojis in my notes app, ever, I don't think.
It did mess with my emojis.
Yeah, my keyboard is all fucked up now. My recents are totally askew.
Oh my god. I will say, I think my favorite part of this watching experience was changing it from last time. I feel like I watched it as an add-on on Amazon last time. Mm-hmm. The best thing was actually watching it on AMC Plus, because I don't know if Amazon offered this when I did the add-on last time, but I did not know or watch them for season 1, the little insiders after every episode.
Oh, I'm jealous. Okay, yes.
And that's
completely
incredible. Changed everything about this season for me.
Yeah.
It was not only because the fact that I'm so pro, buying DVDs because you get the behind the scenes, but it gave me so much more context from the production crew and the cast themselves about every episode.
Ugh, I love that.
And so I hadn't used AMC Plus before, so I got a free week to watch this. I didn't need a week. I watched it all in one day because I'm a criminal.
Yeah, braver than the Marines.
But if I honestly might go back and watch the first season just to have the insider bits.
Yeah,
because
totally.
It changed everything, getting that context.
Yeah.
And I don't know why that wasn't offered when I had the add-on, because it just went immediately from credits. It went right into those.
I hate that. That's even a thing with, like, HBO.
Yeah.
Like, they have, their little behind-the-scenes stuff. And if you're, like, watching it not week to week, they will just skip it.
They
and
will,
go to the next episode, assuming it's the credits. But it's not the credits. It's, like, a full 4 extra minutes or 6 minutes of content that is just, like, you don't need to watch this. Yeah, it's like, what are you talking about? This is, like, part of the production. Like, you guys paid for this to exist. Like, you don't want anyone to watch it? That's annoying.
And HBO, and now AMC, I'm aware, are some of the only streaming services that I'm aware that still do this. That still do behind-the-curtain content. And so it's like, why would I ever skip over that? Tell me more, please.
Right. I would actually want more of this rather than less, believe it or not.
Yeah, but like, and I would highly recommend it for you also, because one of the best parts that it told me about was in the very last episode when Louis and Lestat hug. Jacob, who plays Louis, says there are words shared between Louis and Lestat that only Jacob and Sam know.
That's one. I actually did know this because I was binge reading friend of the pod, Alison Picuro's pieces of the episodes after that, when she talked to folks on the show. And that was, like, a big thing of the finale, of being like, that's something that's just going to be private between them forever.
Yes.
And, like, I wanted them to have that. And I'm like, that's so fucking sick. That's so sick. I love that.
It's just like, and I just fell to my knees, being like, what do you mean?
And also the way they were talking to about that scene of, like, they only shot it, like, twice, or they only did, like, 2 takes or something.
Because there was a
of,
literal
like,
hurricane around.
And there was there was, like, other stuff going on. And they're like, we gotta do this quick. And they, like, didn't talk to each other really about it beforehand or after. It was just, like, they had, like, general vibe questions, but it was more of, like, it felt very similar to that one confrontation scene in Hacks, where they kind of, like, didn't talk to each other, but they just wanted to, like, feel it all and just, like, be in the moment of it. As far as process goes, it felt very similar to that. And I was like, fuck you. And even the fact they're like, afterwards, they're like, nope, let's just gonna be a thing that exists, but, like, that is a different, we're not gonna, like, anticipate each other's, like, actor needs of this, like, we're just fully in it. And I was like, that's fucked up. I'm so fucked.
That is one of my favorite things to think about from, like, an intimacy coordinator level of, like, when do you as an intimacy coordinator make sure that there's communication? And then when there's moments of that where, like, you do need that tension, when do you respect the actors being like, no, we don't want to talk about this ahead of time? Like, we do need to just let it breathe just in the moment. And I don't know what that balance is. Mm-hmm. But that, I love it so much. This season devastated me. And I'm glad that I did not let it breathe over a, like, 8-week period when it came out. Because if I had let it linger, especially because the fact that we are also week by week doing the Vampire Diaries, I would not be in a healthy emotional state. I needed to just get this done in, like, a 24-hour period and then close that book. For my mental
I need the
health.
story told and then put it away.
Because if I thought about how devastating this was for, like, on a week-to-week basis, on top of the pain that we're doing on a week-to-week basis, I would not be mentally well right now.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that I didn't do that. And I'm sorry that you did.
Well, I did it quite quickly. I did it within like a week-ish.
Yeah.
I was trying to do like 1-2 episodes max a day, but then there was like, once I was getting towards the end, I was like, oh, shit is heating up. Let's keep this party going, baby. And then the trial happened, and I was like, I actually need a minute for the next one. I can't be just jumping right into the next one right now. I can't do that for my brain. But it was a great experience watching it.
It is. And it is a testament, right? Like, I am saying that in a complimentary way, how painful this season was.
Mm-hmm.
I did not think after last season that it could get more devastating.
Yeah, and then they up the ante.
And it is
so exquisitely.
It's a good thing, right? To not have that, like, sophomore slump. But
yeah, oh, absolutely. It's so incredible that it feels like even bolder.
Yes.
And more like in its like own control, I guess, of the narrative and the story and what they want to be doing with it. Because even too, when I was reading stuff about this season, because a lot of it is about like, and same with the first season, but especially this season, of inconsistencies with memory and timelines and what is true and what isn't. And there's even points that, you know, end up to be kind of like these final reveals here of like, there actually are things canonically in the first season that like deliberately don't make sense because of this payoff, like in order to have this payoff. And so it's like so fucked up of being like, season 1 being like, okay, we're gonna have to shoot things very specifically here, they are going to be wrong and they're not gonna be how they have to, but we have to do it that way to show like the actual way events transpired in this season, which is such a fucking ballsy move, especially if you're like, I don't even know if we're gonna get a second season, right? Like, I'm just being like planting those seeds on the like sheer will and belief that this can be like a fully realized contained thing.
Knowing that
is wild.
So much of the first season of what caught my attention, aside from like obviously this whole thing is about vampires and gayness, which is like, I'm in, like, hi, hello, welcome to the show. Was about exactly that, right? It's not necessarily just about what the story is. It's specifically about who is telling the story. Yeah. This season takes that and ups the ante even more on that perspective. And when we saw that initial teaser clip in Paris, which, can I just give myself a pat on the back unintentionally for pairing this with the opening ceremonies of the Olympics, because I was...
Ooh, yes.
It was Paris pilled in this home.
Yeah.
Which was not planned. I didn't think they were going to stay in Paris the whole time, but it was a good idea. But I had gone into this being unsure about Delaney Hales. Just because I loved the initial actress so much. Yeah. Delaney, I'm so sorry that I doubted you at all.
Knocked it out of the fucking park, like, beyond belief.
You are unreal. I was in it from the jump, and like obviously I knew from the first season that Claudia doesn't make it, right? Like that was, we know that she's gone. But to be able to see her be a focus of this season and of the interview sessions was so powerful. And devastating. And it hurt a lot. But it was really nice to be able to see for just a moment in time that she had a friend. She had a companion.
God. And just the 11th hour, like finally getting someone.
That someone chose her.
Right, yeah, because Claudia's whole thing is like, I'm always just going to be like a burden. Like, basically from the day I was created, you know, and obviously there's layers to that, but like, I was never anyone's first, and they like pretended, you know, as best they could to be like, we're dads, we're a family. She's like, okay. And there's always, especially for Louis, going to be another pole somewhere else,
right,
that is not her as a priority. And the fact that she finally gets like a gay love, you know, that feels like intentional and easy and like not scary, is just so fucking heartbreaking.
It's so,
given the results of that,
and like,
you know,
it was never going, her life was always doomed.
Yeah,
like, that's the whole
right.
thing about Claudia.
Completely.
I think
it was always a ticking time bomb. Yeah,
right. And I think that everyone around her has known that, because why would you have a I mean, she's not a newborn, but you don't, we know now with the great laws, TM, that like you don't turn children, right?
Right.
But to know that at least in that moment, in the 11th hour, that someone chose her, and that like she gave, I'm forgetting her name, I want to, Madeline, I think is what her name was. She gave Madeline a choice, both of how to respond to her being a vampire, and also if she wanted to become a vampire in general. And I thought that that was a really beautiful response to Claudia, who like, she wanted to be with the Paris Coven so bad, and they were doing all this shitty hazing to her.
Right. She's like, I just want to be a fucking star, man. And she is a star.
She is a star. She is
and,
a
like,
star.
she's trapped at being a child forever. And, like, they are obviously exploiting that. And being like, haha, silly girl. You think, you know shit? Whatever. And she's like, let me cook, okay? This is fun. And this feels like a family. And I don't really have that at all. And I love to, like, with Madeline, at this trial scenario too, like another element of like her riding or dying for her is like being like, all right, you're complicit in this, sorry babe, and she just like flips everyone off in the audience being like, that's my fucking girl, fuck you, I don't give a shit, I just turned like 12 seconds ago, like I'm whatever, like fuck y'all are being really stupid and bad and I hate you. And it's like that's a ride or die right there, that's your girl, you know.
The episodes 5 and 7 of this season were the ones that I texted you and were like, hello?
Excuse me?
Because not only because the trial itself is what I feel like this whole show has been kind of leading towards, right? Like, we've always known that, like, Louis and Lestat it was not going to work. There were crimes committed. Things weren't, that we knew that, like, they were going to be punished for what was done. And to see that played out in front of a human audience it was just like, what the fuck?
The absolute drama of it all is so, like, this is what vampires should be doing all the time. You know
oh
what
my
I mean?
God,
Like,
yes.
this is like the energy, like, fuck, like, just going around and killing people and stuff. Like, if you make some campy theater and, like, make a lot of people in the audience uncomfortable and being like, this is the show, baby, it's all true, ha ha ha. Like, it's so, like, the guy who plays, what's his name, Santiago?
Was my favorite this whole season.
Dude, he, like, has such a, like, Alan Rickman type energy to him that is so phenomenal. Like, you cannot take your eyes off him, and he like commands the room in such a way that is like, oh,
and
like,
that's
so
saying
good.
Something, right? Because
when there's so many powerhouses here,
when you have Jacob, Sam, and Assad in the room, right? Like 3 of the most objectively beautiful people in the world, and I'm staring at Santiago. Whose name, right, was like Fred or whatever the fuck. Like,
love.
No, I completely agree. Every scene that he was in from the jump, I was like, who are you? I need to know everything about you.
He should be in everything.
Yes.
Like, that's a star.
He was perfectly cast.
Yeah.
oh my god, no, the trial was everything. And being able to see, like, the behind the scenes of, like, how it was set up, and then the reveal that they did of, like, everything that you saw from the jump, because obviously it was being told by Louis, right? That, like,
yeah.
that, like, of course Armand was doing everything and he had to save Louis, and then it was like, oh bitch, you thought.
Yeah.
Armand this season,
oh my god, that's baby girl.
I saw someone on Twitter call it the de-Bambiification of him.
Oh my god, yeah.
And that's so accurate. Armand
so real.
As a character is so interesting to me, because they go into it a little bit more this season, which I really appreciated, of, like, how he had been stung by Lestat.
Yeah.
And this, like, rebound, and getting to see more of Louis and Armand, and how, like, in their relationship, Louis acts more like Lestat, which is really interesting.
Yes. Yeah.
Which is why, like, if you think about those, like, attachments, right? Like, you can be anxious in one relationship and then more, you know, like, secure in another. It really just depends on the experiences that you go through. But, like, seeing Armand just unravel this season while white knuckling it I was obsessed.
Yeah. And it was interesting too, because, like, that parallel also existed when we saw Armand and Lestat, which I thought was really interesting, of, like, how Lestat felt so small.
Yes.
And, like, powerless, which, like, we have not really seen him in that position before. And being like, what are those powers? Like, I don't have that yet. Like, you know, like, there's such this, like, peacocking and stuff, but then, which, you know, is very similar to the inverse of, you know, Louis and Lestat. But then when it becomes Armand and Louis, it also goes back again to, like, this, you know, Armand, like, cleaning up Louis' messes, and Louis never home, or is, like, partying, or, like, fucking around with Daniel Malloy and spilling the beans about everything, and having to, like, and, you know, being like, you're so boring and this isn't fun anymore, and I'd rather have, like, the most exciting decades of my life, or 1 year of my life, and, like, that's it, and rather than have, like, decades and decades with you, which, like, motherfucker.
They're all destined to be together, and they should all they should be on opposite corners of this planet. Like,
yeah, or they can become the world's most toxic polycule, and all just be
both of those are both. I'm not sure which one is going to be best. Probably both. Yeah, honestly.
Right. Yeah, maybe, like, they take some seasons. They, you know, they couple decades, they do it, then they take some breaks, then they come back. You know, it's like a little timeshare situation.
I think it's hard to decide, right? Because I love the trial, but if I had to decide, I think episode 5 is my favorite of all of them.
Yeah.
Because on the surface level, it's a one-off. But it's not, because it tells you everything.
Yeah, because it's just, like, I think so much of this, which is super fascinating, is that so much gets unraveled here, obviously by the fact that Daniel has had this long-standing relationship and curiosity about this for a while, but so many of, like, the big things that actually get shaken up and come to fruition that have been dormant for decades are because of his own, like, kind of selfish curiosity for closure. And that's so like, in him, like, his one time being like, I'm gonna take, like, a break from capital J journalism right here and be a little selfish, and take, like, when Armand is not here, and kind of just poke at the bear a little bit.
Yes.
To try to get clarity
on his laptop that
happened.
Never needs to be charged.
Yeah, I've never seen one fucking cord in that laptop this whole time. Not once. And being like, I'm getting, things are starting to, like, make sense, but there's still no actual memory for either of us, and that's weird. Like, there's still, like, things are kind of bubbling up by the fact that we have, like, cleaned up audio, which is incredible. And also, like, the original interview and stuff, but there's still, like, fragmented things that we both feel, which we shouldn't, because it makes sense that my memory got erased in the situation, but why did you, you know?
Right.
Because that's, you know, what? You know? What? And I loved, in that moment, he's, like, trying to recount, and, like, they're going back to, like, the days and stuff, and he's like, wait, how many days did you have me in your apartment?
Why did you have
He's
a
like,
human
your pet
plaything?
for, like, 5 business days? Like, what do you mean? I thought this was, like, a one-night kind of thing. What the fuck were you doing?
And also, hey, Daniel, love
Yeah.
you. What kind of life were you living in the early 70s that you clocked out for 5 days? No one checked in.
Yeah,
No
there's
one
no,
wondered
like,
where
missing
you were.
persons. Yeah, it's like, that's just Daniel. He goes on benders sometimes, and he'll come back, you know? I love to, like, this was a very, like, there was a lot of tragedy in this episode, obviously, and a lot of pent-up relationship emotions, but there was, like, funny moments of Daniel, like, recalling things or, like, finding out these things. And there's one scene where Armand is like, motherfucker, now we have this fucking kid in here. Like, goddamn, I have to figure this out. And Danny Malloy passed out the fuck on the floor, and Armand is just, like, bouncing him up and down, his whole body just slamming back into
so scary.
It was terrifying, because it's like, I think he's fine. Like, he's not going anywhere. He seems really immobile right now, and you can just do that. But the fact that you're just like, all right, let's slap him around up and down on the floor is fucked up.
And that's just, like, Armand's casual powers. He's so casually terrifying. Because in that moment, Louis is unable to move because he just tried to off himself by going to stand out in the sun, which he did not remember. Daniel kind of had to walk him into that memory of figuring out what happened. But he's incapacitated because he cannot move at that point. And you just see fucking young Daniel blurred and kind of out of the frame, and Armand is like, he's fine, don't worry about it. He's just,
I'm taking care of it.
It shouldn't be funny, but it's really funny.
Yeah.
What I love about that behind the scenes episode is you find out that young Daniel, whose name I think is like Luke Field or something, had been studying Daniel Malloy from season 1. He had been studying every single piece of footage that he could about Eric to try.
That absolutely makes sense.
Try and get every mannerism down. And so apparently when Eric watched that episode, he was like, what the fuck? Like, this dude has everything about me down pat. And it comes
and
across.
Like, yes, and like, even if you look at like young photos of Eric Bogosian, I don't know how to say that. Like, he looks exactly like him. It's wild. Like, it is so, it's so unreal.
Being able to get the context of why both of their memories from that day, those days, right, those like 5 days are wiped out, and still Louis doesn't understand that Armand is behind this until he has the script in his hand in episode 8 with the notes in the margins. That he hadn't, because of course not. He wasn't in his coffin when Lestat was there. He was the director, and he has been the director this whole time. And it's like, bud, obviously you've been in toxic relationships. Like, your rebound is toxic. But I need you to notice that, like, why did you think that this, like, casual thing was on, like, babe, open your eyes, please.
Right. And, like, of course it makes sense. Like, I definitely, like, clocked. I was like, there's no way Armand is, like, sparing him in this theatrical moment right now. Because we see Lestat, like, break.
Yeah.
Very visibly in that, you know? And, like, obviously, and, like, not in a way that feels like, oh, it's part of the script. Like, everyone on stage is like, uh-oh, what are we doing? But we can't, like, you know, what's the word? Script him. That's how they say you can't script him.
They were like, you can't script a hurricane or something.
Yeah. And because there is that moment of, they were just like, oh, listen, he dropped him out of the sky, but, like, he was fine, and he knew he was gonna be fine. So, like, it's chill. He should, you know, he did a crime, technically, but, like, he's, you know, it's all good. It's all good. And he was like, no, actually, Louis was fucking broken, and I did that, and I'm gonna go on a rant about this, and, like, actually have a vulnerability outside of this, like, very scripted, manicured, like, version of himself that is playing to an audience that likes him and respects him.
I didn't think he was gonna say that.
Yeah. And being like, okay, if everyone here is going to die, and there's a clear, like, stuttering utterance in the theater when it comes to Louis of, like, what the punishment should be, because the lines have all been the same up to this point.
Right.
Like, no fucking shot, it's Armand. Like, respectfully, no. Because Lestat's out there being like, fuck, man, baby girl shouldn't have to die for this. Maybe we're going a little too far with this. How can I swing things in a different favor? Oh, and it's fucked up.
It's so nasty. And knowing that that part kills me so much, because Lestat is not a good person. We know
right.
this. And I think that what I love about the last couple episodes is that I don't feel like it is trying to redeem Lestat at all.
No. Right.
I think if anything, it's just a character growth of Lestat realizing, like, I did fucked up shit. Right. But it's not trying to be like, oh, he's a good guy at all.
No, it's just like there is a growth there and an acknowledgement of, like, his part and both of their parts in their own story, especially in regards to Claudia. And they're fully grieving and don't really have the opportunity to even do that properly.
Yeah.
And being like, okay, listen, Claudia is too far, but that's already the situation that is happening. Like, I can at least spare you and maybe just, like, have you have your own life and figure it out from there, and, like, not have to cross paths and continue to hurt each other. Which, fuck.
Knowing that Lestat in that moment, because in the trial too, I think that it was very telling that the three, Madeline, Claudia, and Louis, whenever they tried to go off script, right, because they were props. Louis is very clear about that. They weren't characters, they were props. Anytime that they tried to speak up, they were, like, compelled to not. They were like flooded.
Their brain zapped.
Yeah, exactly. I think that it was very telling that we find out from Lestat that he did not want Claudia to die. And in that first time that we see it, that Claudia, like, looks at him and he's like, oh shit, like, that was my fledgling. But to actually hear it from him at the end that he's, like, fully wrecked by it, I think was important to know for Louis' sake. But I also thought it was really interesting that we find out from the great laws that, like, vampires aren't supposed to change children. They're not supposed to change the old, and they're not supposed to change the disabled. And what the fuck does Armand do at the end but change Daniel, whose, like, whole thing is that he is disabled?
Right.
So, do the laws not apply to you, sir?
Right.
And I know that you're mad, right? Like, it's very clear, because Louis says it out of spite, that, like, that's why it happened to Daniel. But, sir, people seem very adamant about the great laws and following them. So...
Right. Like, it seems like the laws are actually really important, as we just learned.
It seems like they don't really fuck with not following those. So...
Yeah.
Also, I wanted to know your thoughts about this, because I haven't read the books on here.
Yeah.
So, when Daniel found out about the cops, the investigator people, I was completely shocked by that. It has a fancy name, the Triceratops, or whatever the fuck it's called. It has a name. I don't remember what it is, though.
There's a name. Yeah, he definitely seemed very confused or surprised by that, which was Very interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't know that was a thing.
Right.
And so to find out that the person that he's been making fun of this whole time, Rashid, is like actually an agent of them.
Right.
And then was something that I really appreciated.
Yeah.
Is the Talamasca. That's what it is. Not the
Talamasca.
Triceratops. That's a dinosaur.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, that's close. You know, you were there.
Right. Yeah. But apparently, because he was like, why the fuck do you have all these photos of me from 1973? Are you going to help save my life? And they were like, nah, we're not very good at keeping people alive.
That's not really our business, you know? That's not what we're here to do.
No, we try to find out about, like, supernatural beings in this world. But good luck staying alive, though.
Right, like, have fun, you know, enjoy.
Yeah. Maybe we'll have sushi again soon or whatever.
Oh my god, yeah.
I'm curious to know, because I haven't read these books, so I have no idea what the fuck's going to happen next, but I'm very curious about next season, because fucking
Lestat's rockstar glam rock era, baby. Let's go.
Yeah, because Armand is now jealous.
Yeah.
And single. Louis is like, come fight me. Lestat's alive.
Yeah. Daniel's a fucking vampire. It's gonna be so lit.
Yeah. But the thing that we know is
like,
that, Armand and Lestat can chat. Because they did before.
Right.
So what's gonna... hello?
Yeah. I'm so excited. I saw some complaints when the third season was announced and it was going to be Queen of the Damned, that people were upset in certain ways because they were like, oh man, it's going to be all about Lestat, blah 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 blah. But also, like, respectfully, the whole thing about Interview with the Vampires, Anne Rice is so horny for Lestat. That's her whole thing. Like, that is self-insert idolization of, she's obsessed with him.
Yeah, I thought that was super clear.
That's a huge core component of this, and that does not take away from, like, the other storylines that we have here, and there's obviously going to be, like, you know, we had, like, Lestat was here, but it was definitely not his story in this moment, but, like, there's all of these people are so intertwined with each other. It's not gonna be, like, you know, Lestat's, like, abusive ex hour, you know, like, comedy hour. Like, it's fine. Like, it's gonna be great. I believe in them and I trust. This is, like, it's gonna be great. And it's gonna be fucking probably 80s glam rock era. Fuck. And I need that so bad. I need him in, I want to see the outfits, the songs. I need it. I need musical era Interview with the Vampire so desperately.
Yeah, I mean, Lestat got to be, like, fucking candle vampire Edward this season, and I thought that was great.
Yeah.
And then from what I know from the behind the scenes stuff, we got a little bit of Lestat's story when he joined Armand's coven in the, like, under the city stuff. So, like, why are y'all shut up. Why are y'all complaining?
Yeah.
Chill out.
Yeah.
I trust them with this.
Yeah, no, if I trust anyone with an adaptation like this, and they're obviously doing it in their own way, like, it's gonna let them cook, literally.
No, literally.
Because we've gotten some good shit so far.
They've been dealing with some very heavy topics that I would not trust a lot of other teams to handle. So I think it'll be fine.
Yeah.
No, it's good. It's good. I'm very happy with this season. Being able to, right now when we're recording this, they're all at Comic-Con, so seeing all their photos they're all so pretty.
They're all so pretty. I'm so happy for them. And I love that their billboard is right across from What We Do in the Shadows.
Yes.
It's very important to me.
Yeah, I'm very excited. And I know that Santiago's dead, but if we could just get, like, a little bit more...
Yeah, if just even a flashback, just, like, something.
It would be great, just because I really like that actor, and I thought that he did a great job.
I need him.
That'd be great. And I also wouldn't mind getting those 2 humans who pretended to be vampires that were in the front row each up.
Oh my god, yeah.
I wouldn't mind getting a little bit more of them, actually.
Yeah.
So, good work, y'all. Thanks for making me cry so much. And I can't wait to watch season 3 in 24 hours next year.
Yeah. Diabolical. Keep the trend going,
Yeah. I wouldn't want it any other way, that's for sure. I don't know what we're going to do next month, so please give us suggestions. But we
Hell yeah.
don't have a sign-off for these.
No, we never will.
No.
Into the Twilight is an Earbud Media production. You can follow us on Twitter at Into the Twilight or on TikTok at Into the Twilight Show. You can find me at Cody Corral on Twitter and Allie at Alexandria Does. And you can support us on Patreon at patreon.com/Into the Twilight. We have merch, so much stuff. All those links are in the episode description. And make sure to rate and review us on your favorite podcast hosting platform. It really helps the show. Thanks. Bye.
You've been listening to Earbud Media Production. Earbud Media, audio for everyone.